What would you do if your partner consistently left you with a colossal mess, despite a clear division of labor? In today's story, the protagonist's choice is a masterclass in how to handle it. My name is Sarah, and I've always been the kind of person who cleans as she cooks. It's a habit that ensures by the time the meal is ready, the kitchen mess is minimal. My husband, Mark, on the other hand, is the polar opposite. When he cooks, the kitchen looks like a culinary bomb has detonated. I've tried, countless times, to encourage him to adopt my method, to clean as he goes, especially when we tackle larger meals, like holiday feasts. I often explicitly assign him that role. Our unspoken household rule, like many couples, is simple: one person cooks, the other cleans up. Given that I'm the more skilled cook, I handle about 80% of our meals. This means Mark usually gets the easier end of the bargain, a quick, straightforward cleanup. Lately, my work schedule has been exceptionally demanding, forcing Mark to step up more in the kitchen, and with every meal he prepares, the kitchen transforms into an absolute disaster zone. I honestly don't even comprehend how it happens. There will be untouched oil splatters on the stove, food particles drying onto dishes, and discarded peels and raw meat scraps left on the counters. The thought of leaving food out overnight is abhorrent to me. So, after I finish eating, I inevitably start the arduous cleaning process, which means my evening relaxation is practically non-existent. Last week, I gently asked him, "Mark, darling, could you please just try to clean up a bit as you cook?" He casually dismissed me, retorting, "The rule is, one person cooks, the other person cleans." I countered, my voice laced with exasperation, "I understand that, but you're leaving me with an absolutely massive mess every single night." His response was infuriating, "I just don't have the time to clean up when I'm focused on cooking." A statement he uttered knowing full well I often catch him scrolling idly on his phone while ostensibly focused. At that moment, a profound sense of exasperation washed over me. I was just so utterly fed up. A plan began to form in my mind, a point I needed to make unequivocally clear. So, that Sunday, I embarked on making a large pot of my famous chili. This isn't just any chili. It's a labor of love, starting with dried chilies that I carefully toast, soak, deist, and pulverize. Then there are the dried beans, cooked from scratch, the onions and garlic with their discarded peels, other assorted vegetables, seeding tomatoes, opening cans of tomatoes, grinding fresh spices, and of course, grating cheese for the topping. It's a process that inherently generates a mountain of dishes and refuse. As I cooked, I deliberately didn't clean a single thing. Peels accumulated on the counter, pots sat unrinsed, spatters remained untouched. When the chili was finally done, I served Mark, sat down, and with a deep sigh of satisfaction, enjoyed my beer and dinner. An omniscient narrator might observe, Mark made a foolish decision at that moment, completely unaware that his dismissive attitude would lead to a rude awakening. When he eventually wandered into the kitchen, his eyes widened in disbelief. "What the F, K?" he exclaimed, his voice laced with shock. "Why is there such a mess?" I met his gaze calmly. "Oh, I was just too busy paying attention to the chili to clean up," I replied, a hint of feigned innocence in my tone. I then calmly began to get ready for bed. He trailed after me, his voice incredulous. You're just going to leave this here?" "Yes," I stated simply. He launched into a litany of complaints. He would have to wake up extra early to clean. He had to be at work earlier than usual the next day, and he was supposed to play a game with his friends later that night. He then pivoted, attempting to cajole me. "So could you just clean up?" "No," I firmly stated. "I cooked, so you have to clean." 2 days later, he's still visibly annoyed with me. He ended up missing his game and complained that he didn't get enough sleep, feeling utterly exhausted at work. All because, as he put it, I had to prove a point to him. And, not to be too snarky, but it's not like he's a surgeon. His exhaustion felt a tad dramatic. I told him quite plainly, "Nothing else seemed to get your attention, and frankly, I feel pretty justified." He retorted, calling me a smug, hole and childish. Many people wonder how we could possibly generate so many dishes, assuming it should only take 15 minutes. What they don't realize is we don't have a dishwasher. Everything has to be done by hand. And doing the dishes for us means a full kitchen overhaul, cleaning the counters and stovetop, sweeping the floor, and taking out the trash if needed. A lot of people suggest that whoever cooks also cleans. But since I cook almost every day, that simply isn't fair to me. I'd end up spending almost every evening after work, and I've been finishing work at 6 or 7 some days recently, cooking and cleaning. If I had Mark cook more often, I'd definitely start gaining weight. And then we'd have a whole other issue on our hands. Ha ha ha. As Blue'd put it so succinctly in the comments, NTA. In my opinion, the whole I cook, you clean should only be applicable when the one who cooks also cleans along the way, and the one who cleans does the dishes, etc. after dinner. It does not work when someone takes advantage and leaves the entire mess for the other to clean up. This resonated deeply with me. Dlogos13 also noted, given that you did communicate and he chose not to listen, it's an NTA. This reaffirmed that my actions, though drastic, were a last resort after repeated attempts at communication. My little protest definitely left a ton of dishes and other stuff behind. I hope this was a wake-up call for him. He can't treat me like his maid just because he can't clean up his own damn mess. Good for me for standing up for myself. The lesson here is that clear communication, when repeatedly ignored, sometimes requires a more impactful demonstration. When boundaries are disrespected, direct action can be the only way to ensure understanding. So, what do you think? Was my approach justified? Or was I truly being a smug hole?